All right, welcome to Epoxy Depot Tech Talk. My name is Ethan. Today we're going to be talking about equipment, specifically grinders. We'll touch on a little bit of propane versus electric, but primarily the idea of this video is to give you a walk around and an introduction to the 20-inch rotary bowl grinder and the 25-inch Tiger. We have a third model called the Black Tip. That's a 20-inch planetary. It's kind of the little sister of the Tiger that should be sitting here, but I don't have one, so you don't get to see it. So propane versus electric. Why one versus the other? It's preference based. Electric grinders are fantastic for entry-level guys, larger contractors, commercial work, everything in between. Typically are going to be lower cost and lower maintenance costs. Propane grinders, a lot of times, will be more powerful machines. Certain commercial contracts require them. So, that's going to be a big key factor on where you want to take the business versus what machine you're going to get into. Preventative maintenance is huge. A propane machine requires lubrication, oil changes, air filters, valve adjustments, fuel costs. They're great pieces of equipment, but you have to know going in the type of floors you're going to try to get into, determine what type of grinder you're going to want to run. A few things to understand before we get started with the rest of today's video and do our walkarounds for each piece of equipment is, one, historically, the electrical code had 110 and 220 as standard for U.S. household power. The electrical code has changed in years past, and now it's 120 and 240. Understanding that, I'm not an electrician. I'm an Epoxy Depot tech support representative. I'm an epoxy flooring subject matter expert. If I use 220 instead of 240 for a piece of equipment, just understand I'm using it interchangeably, and that's widely accepted in the industry. Second thing to understand is this is by no means all the information you need for purchasing a piece of equipment. This is a short form video to get you the base level understanding of what these pieces of equipment can do. Please, if you have any additional questions, reach out to me on the tech support line. I'd be more than happy to assist you further, or your Epoxy Depot sales representative. So two main types of grinders when we're talking about concrete surface prep. We've got rotary and we've got planetary. Rotary, you've got two separate heads, one spinning clockwise, one spinning counterclockwise. Maybe it's directional, maybe it's not. Planetary, you have one main planetary plate with a handful of satellite plates around the perimeter. Planetary plate spins one direction, satellite plates spin the other. So let's get into the bowl. It's a 20-inch rotary piece of equipment. It runs 220, 240. It's got a 7.5 horsepower electric motor running on a 15 amp circuit. What that means is I'm going to run that on my 30 amp circuit, 220 on my generator. As far as rotary goes, you can see it's pretty self-explanatory once we get underneath of it. It's got two rotary plates, one spinning clockwise, one spinning counterclockwise, and 3 spaces for diamonds on each plate. This piece of equipment runs 6 total diamonds. It's got a multi-position handle with multiple buttons on the interface. We've got an emergency stop, an on-off, a speed control, as well as an LED screen that's going to give you a readout for your machine's RPM, as well as any maintenance or trouble codes that might come up through the course of your ownership. The machine has a leveling screw on the rear and is adjustable, so you can go up or down to orient to the concrete surface that you're working on. It's got a 8-gallon water tank, so you can wet or dry grind, as well as a water control valve. It's got handles on the rear that quick attach for easy loading and unloading or up and down stairs. So that's the bowl in a nutshell. We're going to wire a plug on next, but I'm going to give you a brief walk around of the Tiger so you can get familiarized with this piece of equipment as well, so you can make an informed decision about your purchase. The Tiger is the largest piece of equipment in the Epoxy Depot lineup. It's similar to the bowl that it has a multi-position handle. It's got a kickstand on the rear for ease of movement. Let's go ahead and roll it out, show you some of its features. Display screen is similar to the bowl in that it has an emergency stop. It's got its speed control and it's got its LED screen. Where it differs is it also has a direction control, so I can make the planetary plate either spin counterclockwise or clockwise, as well as some USB ports on the face for charging of your phone. We've got a phone mount on the bracket up front and some cup holders, which, when you're grinding a large amount of square footage, it's a really nice feature to have. LED lights, front and back if you're grinding in an area that's not well lit. You've got an additional adjustment on the handle so you can grind in a variety of different angles. Both units have additional weights. The Tiger has 2 fold-away cantilever weights if you're grinding on an excessively hard slab or somewhere where you need more head pressure. The bowl also has a 40-pound removable little suitcase weight to get you that head pressure on it as well. The Tiger also has a water tank on the front to facilitate wet dry grinding or polishing. It's got easy stowaway handles as well as a water control valve. It's a 25-inch planetary. Let's show you the underneath side. This is your planetary plate, and these are your satellite plates. Each plate takes 3 diamonds, so this takes a total of 9 pieces of tooling. The Tiger is also a 220/240 single-phase grinder, but it's got a much larger horsepower electric motor on it, and it runs on a 34-amp circuit, which means on our generator, we're gonna have to run a 50-amp plug. Now let's wire a plug on. The reason it matters is the grinding equipment that we're running will generally come without a plug. So it'll come with an interface plug to plug into the back of the grinder, but it won't come something to plug into our generator or our wall outlet. If we select the wrong type of plug, like L1520, which means it's a 20-amp plug. If I run this on a grinder that needs a 50-amp circuit, like the Tiger, and I run it on a 50-amp circuit, my weak point is gonna be this plug. That plug is gonna overheat. It's just like undersizing your wire. So we've already stripped the cord back. We've shunted our wires. Because this is a single-phase piece of equipment, we've only got a 3-wire plug. We've got an appropriately sized gauge. If we select the wrong gauge, like a 12 gauge or a 10 gauge, on a 50-foot run of cable, we're gonna have a voltage drop. So we're gonna be struggling for power at the end of that cord that's plugged into the grinder. Typically, we're gonna order or we're gonna get a 6 gauge or an 8 gauge wire in SOOW. That means it's oil, weather resistant, and it's a flexible cord. It's not Romex or anything like that. 3-wire, SOOW in 6, 8, 10 gauge, whichever we find applicable for our piece of equipment. So our green wire is going to be our ground. Our plugs are pretty easy to decipher. We've got X and Y, we've got G, and then we've got W. G, or ground, is typically going to be indicated by a green screw. Tighten it down, make sure it's snug. Now, because this is a single phase, we run 2 hots and no neutral, which means both of these additional wires are gonna run to the left and the right of our ground on our L1430 plug. It generally doesn't matter which wire goes to which hot plug, just that we have 2 hots. On most plugs, you're gonna be able to indicate which is hot by the brass screw. The neutral will be silver. We're not gonna have a neutral on this circuit. If we wire this piece of equipment to only see ground and 1 hot and a neutral, you might still get power to the LED screen, but you won't get full power to the machine if it powers on at all. It's a common mistake that happens when people are wiring their own plugs on. Make sure it's tight. Now, I always, before wiring the face of the plug on, sneak a piece of heat shrink onto the tubing. I do that because OSHA is a stickler for exposed inner sheeting on job sites. If you're working any type of a commercial job, having that extra little bit of black shielding will make OSHA very happy on your job site. So heat shrink gets snuck up. Go ahead and make sure it's secure. We're gonna work the base of the plug into place, tighten the face down. And then the last thing we're gonna do is get our cord right in the middle. We're gonna tighten down the strain relief. This is to prevent those connections from coming unplugged as the cord gets taken out of the generator, thrown around the trailer, wrapped up, and just generally protect the inside of that cord. You're gonna wanna make sure this is as snug as possible without going overboard. That's nice and centered, get a better grip on it, really tighten it down. And you can see what that extra shielding does for us. Creates a nice, clean cord that's gonna be OSHA acceptable on any job site.